Dear brothers and sisters, it's wonderful to be here with all of you on this beautiful, hot summer day. When we look at life, we find that we do have difficulties that come along as we pass through life. The difficulties could be in any directions. As we age, we find more physical difficulties that come in our life. Maybe our breathing is not as well, maybe our digestion system is a little out of whack. We also, as we pass through life, we'll go through times where we'll have difficulties emotionally. Things will happen that we don't expect. A death in a family, some accidents to our loved ones, some difficulties in our relationships. And then also in life, at the financial state also we find some difficulties coming. We have a job which we are doing very well, and all of a sudden there's a layoff. A business which is going well, takes a downturn. Our investments, which we very carefully invested, are not kind of giving the returns that we think they should. And so we all pass through those times where we need to deal with the difficulties. Now, how do we stay calm and quiet? Because as soon as there are difficulties, there's anxiety, then there's fear, whether this difficulty will go away or will it remain with us forever. The key is to be able to find some solution to deal with that difficult state. Saints and mystics are telling us that we have a safe room within ourselves. Okay? And we need to go into that safe room to be safe from all these attractions and distractions which are taking the capital that we have as we came into this human existence, which is time that we'll have in this human existence, in which all the faculties which are required by us to truly know ourselves and know God have been provided. And so saints and mystics tell us that we should focus our attention on the treasures of divinity that are within each and every one of us. We have this safe haven within ourselves, this safe room. And once we are in the safe room, nothing can distract us. Okay? Nothing can trouble us. Because when you feel safe, nothing bothers you. You're not anxious, you're not fearful, you're not in any kind of pain or difficulty. So the key is to be able to get to that state. And Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, who wrote much about the spiritual path, he wrote much about how we should be leading a life. In one of his verses, he's talking about this. He's talking about once we find this haven, once we find this safe room, that we don't want to be then away from it. We want to stay there. We want to be in that state. And so in one of his verses, Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj is saying, he says, पड़ा ही रहने दो सर बसजदा न छूटने दो ये आस्ताना न छूटने दो ये आस्ताना कि दर्शने खस्ता का ठिकाना तुम्हारे दर के सवा कहाँ है तुम्हारे दर के सवा कहाँ है. So Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, if you would translate this into English, this verse would be, let my head remain bowed at your abode. Let my head remain bowed at your abode and never let me leave. Darshan's place is at your threshold and nowhere else. So Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj is saying, like once we realize that our attention is taking us into a world of illusion. Once we realize our attention is putting it into this physical world, which is many reflections away from the realities of our existence, it's then that we start to look for what is real. And this is where the guidance starts to come to us through the lives of the great saints and mystics and their teachings. And if we look back at history, we find saints and mystics came in all tradition, in all walks of life at different times, in different parts of the world. But they all talked about knowing ourselves. They talked about realizing that we're not the physical body, we're not our brains, we're not our mind, that in reality we are soul. And that soul is a part of God. And that soul can commune with the Lord. That soul can experience God. And the purpose for which we have this human existence is to find that oneness, the oneness with God. And so the saints and mystics are all exhorting us to go on the spiritual journey. The journey from the physical to the divine. The journey which takes our attention, which is focused in the world outside, and focuses it within ourselves into this safe room that God has given to each and every one of us. Saints and mystics have all talked about this. Tulsi Sahib says, दिल का हुजरा साफ कर जाना कि आने के लिए ध्यान गैरों से उठा उसके बिठाने के लिए. He says, cleanse the innermost chamber of your heart. So he's saying there's this innermost chamber of your heart, which is a safe room. And you should keep it cleansed. Don't dirty it with layers and layers of mind, matter, and illusion. And he said, if you want to experience God, then your attention needs to be focused on God. And that's what Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj is saying. He's saying like, let my head be bowed at your threshold, O God, and let me never leave you. Let me realize that you're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Let me realize you're always with me. God is always with us. It's we who forget God is with us. It's our shortcoming that we cannot experience God. It's not that God is not there. God is there. But we take our attention, which is the outer expression of our soul, and put it in the world outside. So we are the ones who walk away from God. God is within, but we want to be on the outside. Okay. So Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj is saying, hey, let my attention be with him. Let my attention be with you. Let me never leave you. Let me never leave you to go out into the world. And he says, like, darshan's place is at your threshold and nowhere else. And he's telling us that each and every one of us, our place is at God's threshold. That we need to experience God in our life. God is there. We need to be sure that we can gain that experience. And that experience comes through meditation, through sitting in silence. Meditation is nothing more than taking our attention away from the world outside and focusing it within ourselves so that we can get into this safe haven that we have within ourselves. So that the safe room that God has created within ourselves is being used. So that it's not that we never go there, it's not that we never think about it, it's not that we're covering it with grime and dirt and layers of mind, matter, illusion, because something that you don't use starts to get dirty. Okay? So let's use that state, let's go in there. Let's know that we, as we go in there, are going to experience happiness and joy, and we'll be in a state of peace like we've never experienced before. That all the joys of our existence are found when we are with God. Now when we go to a place of worship, We all feel the presence of God there. That's why we're so happy to go to our places of worship. But the saints are telling us God is within each and every one of us. And so as we experience that, then only we'll realize that God is there. So sitting in meditation is an experiment that we do. To see if we can connect with God within, to experience God within ourselves. And if we do that, then we will find that life will be spent in a manner we're happy, we're joyous, we're fulfilled. And that is the kind of life that God wants us to live. God doesn't want us to worry about the past. God doesn't want us to worry about the future, because even though we don't know what the future is, God knows what it is. God knows our past, God knows our present, God knows our future. And so whatever is best is happening in our lives, it's unfortunately we don't recognize it as such. See, whatever is best for us is happening in life. We don't realize that we've created karma for ourselves which is to be played out. There are three kinds of karmas that are associated with our soul. The biggest load is called sanchit karma. They're the storehouse of karma. Every time our soul has been in a human existence, we have thoughts, we have words, and we have deeds. And so karma is created. For good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, we are rewarded. For bad thoughts, bad words, and bad deeds, we are punished. So that's the law of karma. It's an exacting law. Okay. Now these accumulate, because every time we've come in the human body, we have thoughts, we speak, we have words, and we have deeds. Okay. So that's like the storehouse of karma. So out of that, a certain portion is taken, which is called pralabdha karma. And those are what we can call fate karmas. So we believe in the traditions of science of spirituality, we believe that 75% of our life is preordained. So what is happening to us 75% of the time is based on this pralabdha karma, which is coming out of the sanchit karma load, which we have to go through this life. And this way many things happen which are very difficult to explain. You know, like if someone's doing very well financially, all of a sudden the finances go down. Someone's very poor, wins a lottery ticket. Someone's a young person doing very well, has an accident, passes away. These things are very difficult to explain. How can these things happen? Okay. But they're based on our past karmas. Okay. Things that we don't expect because we don't know what our past karma was. And then the third part of karma is what we call kriyaman karma. That's the karma which is associated with us on a daily basis. Because every day we have thoughts, every day we have words, and every day we have deeds. So we are creating new karma every day. Okay? So as long as karma is going to be associated with our soul, we have to come back to either reap the rewards of all the good that we did, or thought about, or talked about, or to be punished for whatever wrong we did. And so the key is to be able to wipe out all the karmic load which is associated with our soul. If our karmic load is not relieved from our soul, not taken away from our soul, we have to come back. And there are many interesting stories when you look back at history. There's this king who went to the forest to get away from everything so that he can know God and not create any karma. And they say at the end of his life he saw a deer. And somehow he thought about the deer and he had to come back. So there are all these interesting stories. Okay. You can believe them, you can't believe them, but they're making a point. So they're saying, okay, even in the end, if your thought is away from God, boy, you're gone. Okay? So now how do we wipe out this karma? So the saints say, and when we look back at history and look at the teachings of the great saints, that what is initiation? You know, people said that we should be now initiated in the mysteries of the beyond. What is that? What happens at the time of holy initiation? When the holy initiation is done by a spiritual master to a disciple. It could be one, it could be thousands at the same time. Then some of the gains that the spiritual masters had is imparted to us. Okay? And through that, the sanchit karma which is associated with our soul is wiped away. So the biggest load of karma is wiped away at the time of our holy initiation. And this is why when you look at the traditions which are coming from years and years and years, and parents and grandparents, as they realize what the gains that they got, then they want to be sure that the children and the grandchildren get initiated, because they have found those gains in their life, they want their children to have it. So the biggest boon is that the biggest load of karma with our soul is removed. Then guidance is provided to us so that the kriyaman karma that we create on a daily basis also gets wiped out. We're asked to meditate for a certain amount of time so that whatever karma we are creating on a daily basis is getting wiped out because of us being connected to the divine power of light and sound within, which we connect to as we meditate properly. So the new karma that we're creating is getting wiped out. Okay? And as we are given the techniques to meditate, we're asked to remember God. We're given some words which are the names of God to repeat. And this is called Simran. Simran is repetition of God's name. So when we repeat God's name all day long, then the karma which we are supposed to pass on that day is getting wiped out. It's going to happen and help is going to come to us. It is said that if let's say, mountain were to fall on you, it will feel like a pinprick. So it can get lessened. Okay? So those are the gains, because whatever we have to pass through, we'll have to pass through, but help can come to us. So Simran is very, very powerful to do, and this is why it's recommended we do it on a daily basis. Also, as we meditate, when we do the Simran, then the positive powers can only impregnate us, so we are in our safe room. So Simran provides us with that safe room so that the sustaining power or the powers of the mind cannot penetrate through that arena to get to us, to distract us. So the Simran is like, as we do Simran, it's making our room stronger and stronger and stronger, so nothing can penetrate through which is going to distract us or take our attention away. And this way, as we get initiated, our sanchit karma is all taken over. Our pralab karma will be playing out every day. And the kriyaman karma that we are creating every day will be wiped out as we are doing our meditative practices. And we're asked to spend time in those activities which have what is called ne karma, in which no karma is created. The more time we can spend there, the better off we are. And so what is the area where no karma is created? First is when we meditate. See, if we meditate properly, we should be able to get to a state where there are no thoughts, no words, and no deeds. Definitely there are no deeds, we're sitting down to meditate. We're not going to speak to anyone, no thoughts, and no words, but the thoughts are difficult, and there's where Simran comes into play. As we use the power of the mind to focus on God. And that is why we repeat God's name mentally, not out loud. If we do it out loud, our ears would hear it, so we'll be distracted on the outside. So mental repetition of God's name, which is what Simran is all about. It helps our state so that we get to that state where there's no thoughts. Okay? So if there's no thought, no word, no deed, that's the time where no karma is created. So the recommendation to us is take 10% of the daily time, which is about 2.5 hours, to put into meditative practices. This path is a path of positive mysticism, so we stay in the world, we support ourselves, we support our families, we discharge our responsibilities. We make sure we spend enough time in our spiritual practices. Also, as we come to the tail end of our life, Our Sanchit karma has been wiped out, our Pralab karma is wiping out on daily basis. We're asked to do Simran at the end of our life, so that as we're doing Simran, our attention is on God. Okay? And no thoughts are coming to us, so that no more karma can be created. And then, at the time of a physical death, all of these three karmas have been wiped out, and that's then that our soul, through the help of the spiritual master, through the help of the saints or the mystics, is then going to be able to merge in the oversoul or in God, so that we will be off the wheel of transmigration. So it starts with meditation. The guidance is given to us so we lead an ethical life, so that we create calmness for ourselves and also for the surrounding. It starts with focusing on God. It starts having our attention be on God, so that we don't forget God during the day. So there's this saying in Punjabi which says, Hath karwal dil yarwal. It means our hands to our work, but our hearts to our beloved. So as we go through the day-to-day activity, our attention be on God. And as we lead a life like that, then we know that we will definitely be able to fulfill the very purpose for which we've come into this world, which is to truly know ourselves at the level of a soul, and then have our soul go on the spiritual journey to have our soul merge in God. So let us just meditate for a few minutes, because there's nothing better than meditation, because that's where the connection with the divine power which is within ourselves can happen. The creative power brought all creation to being, and it's reverberating within each and every one of us. So we have this safe room within ourselves. Okay? We have this room which is quiet, nothing from the outside can penetrate. So let's get into that room, let's make use of it, and it happens through meditation. So please sit as comfortably as you can. Close the eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focus 8 to 10 inches in front of you. And as you close the eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please, dear Simran, those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us here connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light in its effulgence. May the grace of the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Savan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayalpur Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, be with each and every one of you. So we'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.